guys, welcome back to the channel. So I actually broke my foot back in August there, so that's why I haven't uploaded anything in a while. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see the x-ray photo of my foot. So today I'm here, I'm working on a truck I actually got in some exchange for some parts that I sold to a person I know. They had the truck and they needed some parts. I was trying to sell the truck. I said, well, what are you looking for the truck? They told me the price. I said, well, that's right around the same I was going to charge you for the parts, so let's just trade. So traded it. Now we call this truck Sloppy Seconds. It'll be in some more videos in the future, I can promise you guys that much. I've got big plans for it, actually. I got a single cab short box frame that I was trying to use on the old Betsy project and it didn't work out, so we're going to turn this truck into a single cab short box. It's a 1998 F-150 with a 5.4. It's a single cab long box at the moment. It's an old farm truck, so I'll do a walk around when it's daylight out. It's actually about 8 o'clock at night right now when I'm filming this, so it's a little dark. But yeah, so I gotta do some intake gaskets on it. I borrowed the truck to my buddy, so he's been using it for going back and forth to work and just his regular errands. You guys actually know him, it's Kyle. He was the one who we went and rescued the one truck for. So let's just get into this video here, and I'll kind of go through this truck with you guys and kind of show you guys how to change an intake gasket. You guys seem to like the how-to videos, so I'll kind of do a quick one on this one, cover how I do it. It might not be the right way, but it's how I do it. Works for me. I don't have a problem, so let's get at her and we'll get started here.
First thing you're going to do is you need to take an 8mm. You're going to have to pull that one off, and then you have to unplug this, and then there's another one down below here that you got to unplug, and then you have to unplug those two vac lines that go to your intake, and then your whole intake will come off. I'll pull that off and then we'll jump back into what else we got to do. Okay, so once you got that, I just actually pop it right out of there, so it's completely out of the way, and then I'm not fighting to put the air filter back together after. But that other plug is this guy down here, and it just, there's a little tab you squeeze there, pulls that one off, and then you take this one and you just give that a quick squeeze and you pull it off, and those just pull right out. Then the next thing you got to do is make sure you drain. I usually start by draining my antifreeze or coolant, whatever you want to call it, out of the system first, and then you can continue on. So then you're gonna have to take your cables and stuff off as you go here. Yeah, just stand by and I'll kind of show you what I got. Guys, so you're gonna try and do this with one hand here. We're going to pop this bad boy off here. Okay, I got the clamps back now, you guys. So we didn't take that one off last time, so squeeze that one off, and then if you're ever having problems with these, just twist on them as hard as you can. It's a lot easier with two hands than it is one. Okay, so yeah, so just, you know what, if that don't work, just grab an 8mm, because if you don't really need to take it off, it's not the end of the world. You pop these bolts off here. And then pull this spring off here. And then this just pops off by pulling up on it. Then I rotate this forward, slide that off. These turn to a 10 mil that hold the throttle plate on. these trucks here, you can pretty much work on them if you buy yourself a Mastercraft kit. A pair of pliers and some gas line fittings. Mostly everything will come apart with that stuff, and a crescent wrench. If you buy yourself a set of crescent wrenches, you'll be good too. So flip your throttle cable and your cruise control out of the way, gets it out of the way. And the 2 bolts that hold these down are again a 10 mil. So you just plop those on. So I've learned in the past that you gotta watch these bolts here. Sometimes they get corroded and they break off. If that happens, the best thing to do is just pull the rest of it apart, and then hopefully it'll be like what happened with me. It left a little bit of a stud, so I was able to put a washer on, weld the washer, and then weld the nut on, and then hit it with the impact after it cooled a little bit. You don't want to let it cool right off because then you lose your heat. It'll come right out. Now you're going to want to pay attention to which way your thermostat is sitting in there. If you pull it out, you want to make sure you put it back in the same way, otherwise it's not going to work right. And when I bought this truck, the antifreeze was a rust color brown. Obviously either they were mixing their antifreeze or they never did a service on this antifreeze system. Not the end of the world, but it definitely needs a flush. I'll probably worry about that when I switch this motor from this frame to the other frame. But yeah. Okay guys, so you're gonna have to take your belt off because you gotta take your alternator off to get your alternator out of the way, because this is gonna come up and out. So you're gonna need a 1/2 inch breaker arm, or your ratchet will work, but breaker arm's easier because it gives you more length. And then yeah, it goes towards the driver's side of the truck. You pull it towards there, and then you just pop the belt off. Take pictures or whatever, because sometimes the plastic piece is gone from right here. That tells you which way your belt goes, and you'll be frustrated. I know you can look it up online, but it still gets kind of confusing about how it's ran. I usually just drop it off the alternator, and then I can just pull it straight back up after. It's usually pretty good. Then you got to go around, give these a squeeze. All this stuff's got to come out of your way. Fold it down. Just be careful with it. The more older the truck is, the more your wires are a little bit more brittle, so you don't want to be just ripping on stuff, because that's how you wreck stuff. And then yeah, so then it's 10 mils that hold your alternator on. I leave all the wiring done up. I'll just show you guys what I do here. I leave the wiring all done up. Good thing I don't care about the paint. Yeah, so yeah, there's 2 on the bottom here. Gotta whip those off. If you're lazy like me and you don't like fighting with the breaker arm, I just leave it on there because that's the only thing I use it for, and it stays out of my way over there. I guess what I should say is, before you start this, make sure you disconnect your battery. I don't. I guess if I short my own truck out and burn it down, that's my problem. To each their own, I guess.
Warning, disclaimer, disconnect the battery.
So what I like to do is I'll just leave my bracket onto my alternator. You guys will see what I mean. There's actually 3 10 mils up top here. But if you just take the 2 off that goes to the intake bracket, then you don't have to take that little bracket off and just place it, because it's not very big. So that's your vac lines. You're gonna have to pull those off in a minute. So yeah, you just take this off and then just nicely place it over there out of the way. Then you don't gotta fight with everything, trying to get it undone and everything. But then your vac lines come to the back of the motor here. Once again, twist and pull is your best friend on all those. There's this one down here yet. Don't forget about that one like I just did. And then there's 2 more on that thing. If you guys are looking for technical names, you're at the wrong guy. I am not a licensed mechanic. I will repeat this. I am not a licensed mechanic. So use whatever I say to your own discretion. If you guys want to use my tips, giver, but so yeah, basically you just keep working your way in. So you got to disconnect everything that goes from your motor to your body, or from your motor to your intake. So whatever's got to come off, you pretty much got to pull off. This is another 8 mil. You're gonna find most of your bolts are either 8 mils or 10 mils on the intake of this truck. As you can see, I zip tied a bunch of stuff together to try and make this a neater system. And I know I'm gonna have to pull this out of this one because I tried to cheat and use a 01 to 03 intake on it, and it did not work out for me. So I'm gonna have to actually put those. You can tell, guys, when you want to hold your stuff from touching one another, take a zip tie, wrap it in the middle of your other zip tie, and it'll actually hold your hoses apart. Make stuff kind of look neat. Just sucks when you got to take it apart again. But it sure makes it easier when you have everything nice and neat, when you got to just do your coil packs or whatever on these trucks. Because these trucks are annoying to work on. I do not enjoy it. So once again, you're going to go back to your 10 mil. 10 mil will be probably pretty much your best friend in most of this project, along with the 8 mil, like I said. You got a bolt directly down in here that you got to take off. And then you can unplug that. You don't have to, because if you actually just want to, we'll do what I'm going to do. But if you're going to pull this off and just place it right out of the way, you can unplug this. But for the way I'm doing mine, I'm going to just leave it plugged in. And the other one's right on the EGR valve itself. It's a nut. No, don't do that. That'll tick you off. when I first started working on these trucks, what I used to do is I used to put everything in a baggie or something and label exactly which part came off of what, or I put everything separate from one another just so I didn't confuse what was what. The more I work on these, the less I actually have to put off to the side, just because I know pretty much which bolts do what. I don't like these trucks, but they're cheap, so they're cheap to buy, which makes them easy to rat bag and beat the living crap out of. Just means you got to be willing to work on them, because they only take it for so long, and then they pretty much tell you where to go and how to get there. So yeah, basically, I just undid the EGR with my crescent wrench. Don't ask me the right size of that nut, because I have no clue. I just put my crescent wrench on. Knowing that I had this off here not too long ago, I didn't bother using my hammer. But when I first grade a truck, usually what I'll do is I'll put my crescent wrench on, give it a couple whacks with the hammer on the end. It'll usually come right loose. Just a little tip. Okay guys, you can see the coolant down here in the valley. That is actually, you can see that when everything's back together still, but the camera doesn't pick it up that well. So that's kind of why I knew something was up with the intake gasket still on this truck. The last time I changed the intake out was because it was still misfiring after we did all the coil packs and plugs, and telling me that system was too lean. So that tells me right off the hop that it's a coil, the intake, when everything else is done what needs to be done. So did the intake gaskets. I had another truck that had this intake on it with fairly new intake gaskets, but it was off, like I said, it was off a newer truck. Thinking either that's why it didn't seal, or I didn't look at the gaskets. I kind of rushed that project. It was kind of a cooler night. I was doing it outside, so I kind of rushed it, and I didn't really take a good look at the gaskets. Now the gaskets could have a nick in them, and that could be my only problem. I'll find out more once I get this apart. So I'm gonna keep pulling things apart here, and like I said, I'm trying to do this step by step, but I'm not used to doing these how-to videos, so bear with me, and hopefully you guys learn something. Okay, so I popped that one off. The 98s are actually going to be back here, so I cut this hose when the last time I did it, so I'm gonna have, I got another hose I'm pretty sure is the right one that I'm gonna use, or I'll see if that one will actually reshape itself back into there and see if it still works for that one. But then tuck it off to the side. Last time I had this apart, I zip tied the other heater core line up out of the way, so it's easier to reach back there now. You don't have to take the fuel lines and injectors off this side. This side you do to get your coil packs out, because if you try and pull the intake with the coil packs on, sometimes your rubbers stay behind, and if you have any dirt sitting down on the top of the motor, the rubbers can kick the dirt down in there and it ends up fighting you. So I usually pull these off, which is a 7 mil. I'll show you how to take this side off, because it's a little bit more complicated than this side. This side here, you just got to take the actual coil packs screws out and they pop off, and then you can actually do that. But even when you're doing your coil packs on these trucks, this side you have to pull the fuel rail to get the back two coil packs off. So fair warning if you got to do coil packs on one of these trucks. If you have the money while you have it apart, do them then, because then you don't got to do them again. So right now what I'm going to work on is I'm going to pull this throttle body out of my way. Gives me more space to work around the backside, everything. Just makes it easier. If you don't want to pull it, you don't have to, because you can reach down each side and do it. It's easier when it's out of the way. Plus I got to transfer it back to the other intake, so either way I got to take it off. Once you have it off though, make sure you don't drop nothing in it. It's not like anything's going to fall right down, because it'll actually fall down in this actual little catcher. But yeah, try not to drop anything in there. My best advice to you. Knowing me, I'll probably drop something down there anyways. So yeah, these ones here are 8 mils that hold this on. See this hose here, it's really badly dry rotted. I actually should be replacing that one. That could be some of my misfired issues with this truck too. But I'll check it over after, get it back together and see if it's still misfiring. If it does, I gotta start going over some of these back hoses. Some of them are in pretty rough shape. Want to be careful not to drop those. And they're done that lots. That'll make you happy. Depending on where you drop it. If you're lucky, it'll just drop down inside the valley. So when you pull your intake off, you're good. It's usually one that'll make you mad is when you're putting it back together and you drop it down there. Because then you gotta pull everything back apart again. Okay guys, so I got all the bolts out here. So this one in the back corner, you're not going to get it out until you lift this up and forward. And then you'll get it out because it's too long and it'll hit the firewall. Yeah, you're not going to get it, trust me. I've tried. So you put that back over there. And then there's another clip back here with wiring on it. I usually pull this off and then undo it. Pull it forward, and then you got another coolant line on this system. Not all these trucks are the same. I don't know what this does, but it's on this one, so I'm running with it. It heats up the intake, I know that much. Once again, twist and pull, and then out that'll come. That's your throttle body. And then see how much more room you have to work with? It's much nicer. So yeah, so some of your vac hoses will be this one, which will go back to the back of your intake. When you pull it forward, that'll come off. That's also held on by a 10 mil back here, so I'll pull that off. And then the 8 mils for so you're gonna take the two 8 mil bolts off right there, one there and then one further back, as you can see. Then you're gonna take and you're gonna unplug your coil packs with, there's depending on the clip, but you can see there's a tab right here. You pull up on it and it comes right off. These ones here, you take them in, you squeeze them together and they come off. Then there's a 7 mil bolt right there. You pull those off, the coil packs off. And that's how you get rid of all that stuff. So instead of making you guys watch me do all those, I just explained it, and I'll pull them off and then we'll start. Guys, so as I pulled this side apart here, I realized I do this pretty much every freaking time. And my suggestion to you guys, and I know to do it, I don't think to do it, is pull your fuel pump relay, start the truck, let it die out. It'll take all the pressure out of the fuel rails, so when you pop the fuel rails, you don't soak the top of your motor in gasoline and make it stink real bad in here. So yeah, there you go, little tip there. Hey guys, so we got the fuel rails all off and the coil packs all out, except for those two. The glue let go that holds the little dowels and the bolts bolt into, and they stripped out on me, so I get to fight with those two. But then, yeah, as you can see, I just tucked the fuel rails up and out of the way. And then your next ones are these 10 mils. There's one there, and then there's one right there, one right there, another one right there, and then one more way back there. So, and then The other side, you already took 2 out. It's those 2. Then there's another one there. Another one there. Another one there. And then behind this nice wiring harness that's back here that's stuck lovely in the freaking way, you get another one. I can't really get my camera in there, but yeah, I can show you where it's at once I get the intake out. But I'm gonna pull all those. Those are all 10 mil. Yeah, so have fun. Okay guys, so once you get all the bolts out, you're gonna want to lift up on it. And then I always leave this back hose till now. And then yeah, you just twist and pull, and then up and out it comes. So honestly, I don't think it was this gasket here that was leaking. I'm gonna take a look at my intake and I'll get back with you guys, but I'm pretty sure it's the intake itself that was kind of leaking. So yeah, I'm gonna switch these out anyways. With this one, I'm gonna put the actual 98 gaskets back, 98 one back on, because as you can see, these don't line up at all with the holes, so the air was getting disturbed a little bit. Guys, so looking around at the gaskets, I missed that. That is what I missed. That's what made my day miserable. So made me do this twice. But yeah, always check your gaskets because they'll get you. Guys, so got her all cleaned up. Make sure you get her nice and clean as you can. Don't mind this. I still got to do this part. Didn't do it that great yet, but outside's all cleaned up. And yeah, I'm gonna put the new gaskets down here right away. Try to finish that part up and put her back together. Hey guys, so 98 intake, 2000 they started these intakes. So this intake, it ran from 1997 to 1999. The only difference is 99. Don't quote me on this. I believe they went to the PI heads, which means that it's still aluminum intake, but it's a bigger port. Like these ones. These ones are plastic. They're a one-piece unit, which is kind of nice because you don't have a gasket right here, which is this gasket right here that I'm about to change on the 98. See, the 98's got it. Goes from metal to plastic. So, and then you pull those ones with, as soon as I can just see them here. You can see those down there. Those are 10 mils again. I do believe. If my memory serves me right. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. But yeah, you'll have to pull your intake off, your throttle body off to get to those ones easier. There's one here, one there, and one back there, and then the other side's the opposite. So I'll take it apart and I'll kind of show you guys the gasket. Yeah guys, so I was wrong. They're an 8 mil. Take those ones off. So yeah, now without that intake in the way, I can kind of show you guys better. So there's one, there's two, there's three, there's four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you just pull those ones off, pull out like out, and that's what you guys. So that's it, split apart. This is the gasket we're after right here. Not sure if there's actually anything wrong with this one, but I got it this far apart. The kit comes with this gasket, so that was in there, wasn't it? So might as well take it out, replace it, cause well, we can. But yeah, I'll clean this all up. I'll bolt it back together and we'll throw it back. So, like, once you get it down back in place, be very careful when you're sliding it in. Sorry, I can't hold the phone and slide that in at the same time, and the people who are running my camera aren't around right at this moment. So, yeah, so be careful just when you're sliding it in that you don't hit your gasket when you put it in there, because you'll nick your silicone up, and then you'll be back where I was at the beginning there. And then don't forget to also, when you're buying for the 98s, to buy, if your kit doesn't come with it, the gasket for this piece. It's not reusable, so you'll need a new gasket for that piece if you pull it apart. And then, yeah, so then you just kind of reverse what you did there. You'll put your injectors and stuff back in. You'll put your fuel rails back on. You'll put your coil packs in first, and then your fuel rails. And then, yeah, just keep working your way at it. I'll kind of come back in as I get it packed apart, together some more, and just kind of talk to you what I did. Okay, guys, so as you can see, got the fuel rails back in, got the coil packs back in. So fuel rails, 8mm bolts. These nice little 7mm. Can't mix them up. Can't mix the clips up either. Black ones go to coil packs, gray ones go to the injectors, and they all pretty much fall into place. So you really can't mix them up for each cylinder. It's a pretty simple process there. I hook up. There's a hose on the back of the intake, right back there, right there. That one there. I hook that one up before I slide the intake in. Makes the life a little easier. Same with this one. If you hook that back line up, hook it up before you slide that all in place. Make your life a little easier. And yeah, just keep popping her back together. I'll do another update when I get a little bit further along, and you guys can kind of use that as references. Okay, guys, so you're gonna get that vac hose on back there, which goes to your booster over here. And then there's this vac hose here, which goes to something to do with the evap system. Goes onto the top of that one there. That one there, I believe, hooks up to the rest of your vac lines when you flip the vac lines over. We'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's the way that one goes. Each one of these trucks are a little bit different, so take pictures before you pull your vac lines. That's a good thing to say at the end of the video. And then, yeah, so you're going to put your 10mm back there, 10mm nut to hold that on, and then plug that back in. Your vac lines are still hooked up to it, but if you do take those off, it's... Where are they at? There they are. Those two vac lines that hook to that go to there. And then, yeah, I'll catch back up with you guys here in a minute when I start putting the vac lines back on. Just kind of lay them down and kind of show you where they all go. Really, all your vac lines should just kind of fall in place, and they should just plug and play. It's pretty simple. They're kind of route the way to go on the motor, but I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. Okay, guys, so I went ahead and put my alternator back on. I still got to do my clamps on my rad hose, but it's kind of back in place there. Put that on just because I don't like fighting with that stuff when I go to put these lovely things back on. So, like I said before, that one goes to that guy. So, once you know that kind of stuff, then like I said, it pretty much all falls into place. Once you get it weaved around everywhere it's supposed to. Now, I'm going to tell you this much. If it's freaking cold outside and you're doing this outside, don't grab these lines. Make sure you at least warm the engine up before you do this if you're going to do it outside in the cold. Because you do these lines in the cold and you start flipping them around like this, you're just going to snap them and you're going to be madder than you ever been before. Because then you're going to be trying to rig them up to go back together. Because if you're doing this yourself, you most likely don't have the money to be going buying a whole bunch of new parts all the time. That'll be my guess. And then this one goes over to here. Where's my hand at? On the screen. There we are. The struggle is real. Okay, so that one goes there, that one goes there. You got this guy down there. That guy I just struggled to put back on. These two here come down back underneath like this. And the struggle party begins again. Okay, and then yeah, then that all goes back over to the other side where it originally began. This one here, I ended up making a new line for this one. I just used some old heater hose, which is high pressure, so it won't collapse on itself. But yeah, I ended up putting a new one in here because, not this one, sorry, this guy right here. Underneath that one. It was broken right here. And somebody did a fix without a pressurized hose, and it just collapsed on them. So it wasn't doing its job. And yeah, so like I said before you take the truck apart, make sure you take some pictures if it's your first time doing it, because you're gonna be mad if you don't, because everything's gonna go to different spots. Then you just gotta pop these bad boys back on, which is just a matter of putting the 2 bolts back in there. This bad boy, it goes up and around in that hole like that, opposite of the way you took it out. Like that. And then this just pops on like that. And then you put your 2 bolts on there, and then that'll go back on there. And make sure you put your spring back on too. This guy here. Hook her all up. You guys will be happy. Okay, so we got it all back together here. So we're gonna do a test start and see how it works out. So, but first thing I'm gonna do is tell Kyle to turn the key on and cycle it. And when he does that, what we're trying to do is get the air out of the fuel lines. And on top of it, we're gonna watch for any fuel to spray out of anywhere. Okay, Kyle. Off and on again. And one more time. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump up here and we're gonna take a peek. What you're looking for is to see if you can spot any fuel leaks or anything like that. Okay, so yeah, looking for leaks. All right, my fingers are clear. Give her a start.
I see my buddy ran over my jerry can, but it's sitting here. This is a few days after we did the intake gaskets. It's been quite a while actually. It's running pretty good. You can still hear the exhaust manifolds are leaking. They need to be done yet on it. I'm gonna do that when I do my single cab short box switch over. But the truck itself is like from the cab forward, actually in pretty decent shape, other than my buddy hit a deer with the truck and put a dent in the front bumper, the front fender and the front driver's door there. But yeah, like I said, it was a farm truck, and this box was actually in worse shape than this. I straightened it out. The panels were actually laying right over. This one here was in way worse shape. It was, yeah, so it's not anything fancy, but we're gonna make something out of it that's a little bit better for going to play in the mud bogs after my buddy's done with it here. So that's gonna be the video to come. You guys are gonna see what I'm gonna do to it and have some fun with it, but we just have to wait for him to be done with it.